sure the volume's off as it prepares to live stream. I'm just going to go through a quick rundown on procrastination. You can see the whole thing on my show News and Hypnosis that actually is going to be airing on Saturdays. Starting on Saturdays, it starts streaming on Roku and on Amazon Fire TV. My hair is all messy. That's what I love about live TV, right? It's just, I got to go turn on the light. Hold on that thought. You guys can't see me and I can't see me. So, and I want everybody to see me. There we go. That light is probably too much. My hair okay, everyone? You can answer me, right? I'm just going to go over real quick. Last week, we talked about the definition of procrastination. And we talked about the importance of understanding it. And the statement that just the whole premise of procrastination is not a condition or inherent personality trait, but rather a response to a trigger. And once you understand that your procrastination is a response to an actual trigger, you can start to learn to, I call, healing from it as we go. I went over an explanation of triggers, that there's a stimulus that prompts a response to a behavior. I also gave some examples of triggers such as deadlines, fear of failure, lack of interest, lack of motivation, anxiety, and being overwhelmed. And you can see part 1 from last week on those details on my Central Valley Hypnotherapy YouTube channel, okay, as well as on the Roku and Amazon Fire, which is actually on the Austin Reed Network on Roku and Amazon Fire. Let's see, we talked a little bit about emotions, energy and motion, and how emotions can trigger procrastination. Negative emotions such as fear, anxiety, being overwhelmed can lead to procrastination. And everybody does procrastinate to some degree or another, but there are areas in life that procrastination is just not an option. What if the stock exchange decided to procrastinate opening at the bell? That wouldn't be a very good option to a lot of people who invest money, or to our country who lives off of that kind of thing. So today I'm going to go just part 2. It's going to be a little bit brief. Like I said, you can get all the sort of details if you wanted to go to the Austin Reed Network for News in Hypnosis is the name of the show. I host that one. And let me see if I can, I don't know what that, maybe there's something on my camera. I don't know. But anyway, it's like there's a little dot there. I don't know what it is. Right? I don't know if you can see my thing. Anyway, my little cursor. So we're going to talk about procrastination part 2. And this is the final part because there's so much to it. I could probably spend 6 months talking about it. But this is an overview. And this is what I get to help people do. Do I procrastinate? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Right up into the minute I'm supposed to be on this show sometimes, but I typically have a script. Now since about my second show, I decided I can't do this without something that I can read or guide myself. I like using PowerPoint. So my News and Hypnosis show is PowerPoint. Now, before I even begin, my name is Isla Brock, and I'm a certified hypnotherapist, and this is Most Things Hypnosis, and I'm live at 5 every single Thursday. So you are more than welcome to join me on Thursday. And I get a little crazy and zany and blah, blah, blah. It's, whatever. This is just my spontaneous moment for me to be spontaneous. Okay. But I'm going to talk a little bit about procrastination. So definition it's not a condition, but the definition of a condition is a characteristic or trait that is inherently difficult to change. So, and it is a challenge to change procrastination because you become such a pattern to it, to delay things, because you like the rush you get when it gets done. But how much better would the rush be if you could spend that time doing something you really enjoy? But we're not going to get into that. Examples of other conditions associated with procrastination would be laziness or lack of discipline, lack of a motivation. And something I do help people with in a hypnotic state and with hypnotherapy is help increase your motivation. Now, I know there are a lot more people that are way more motivated than me, but I think I'm pretty motivated. When I have my mind set on something, I am definitely going to pursue it and go after it, as long as it's in my schedule. Now, this is kind of interesting. I'll just give you a little shared bit. I didn't do a but first on this because I actually have another meeting coming in, borrowing my office tonight. I want to be ready for them. But I never kept a schedule before. I mean, I knew what time things needed to be done and when they needed to be done, but it would be like on a calendar, on the refrigerator, on the wall or something or whatever. Sorry, my hair is just like totally freaking out on me. But there's this calendar, and not just like doctor appointment 2:00 or, lunch with friend or whatever. I would not, it was like I would remember it. So I would never necessarily have to write anything down up until about 2016, I think it was, that I became a property manager. Well, I was already a property manager. I was working for a new company, and I had 9 buildings, 83 units and everything. I was the project manager as well for all projects going on, whether they're repiping a building or whatever the situation, is. I was the point man, if you will, and everything had to be scheduled. And I didn't leave anything to chance because certain vendors couldn't come in until certain vendors were completed, blah, blah, blah. And if you've done any project managing, you would understand that as well. So anyway, I started to procrastinate significantly less and start keeping a schedule. Now, everything I do goes in my schedule, and I don't promise anything unless I've got my schedule in front of me. I might give a little weasel word, something like, let me check my schedule, but probably okay. But I don't want to make any promises until I've looked at my schedule, because I'm not leaving anything to chance anymore. I've caught egg in my face. I've lost a client because of my lack. It's like, now I'm not going to go there again. So just know everything gets scheduled. So that helps me not procrastinate. Other examples, let's see. Well, I'm not going to go into those. Okay. Problems with thinking of procrastination as a condition is your self-efficacy. It's putting your efficiency on a lower level. You're demeaning yourself even. Thinking of procrastination as a condition leads to a sense of helplessness. That what's the use? And that's not where you want to go. You procrastinate, but like I said, everybody does. It's treating it like not a condition, but a behavioral trait that you need to fix. You have a behavior. And why? Well, I get such a charge when I have like 3 hours to the deadline, or it needs to be turned in by 8:00 tomorrow morning, and I'm going to crash and do an all-nighter. But that's not healthy, and you don't do your best work. You may think you do your best work, but I think you would do your best work if you gave it the time it deserved, that project or that item or that whatever. The impact on motivation. Believing procrastination is a condition can decrease motivation and change it and make it difficult to adapt the new habits. And what you really need to do, consider doing, is creating a new habit system, creating a habit system that allows you to have new patterns where you start to enjoy even the things that you don't enjoy. And I'll go into some of my own little frailties here in a minute. But understanding procrastination is a response to a trigger, and you may be something you learned. I had a colleague when I used to teach years ago. She was the secretary of the school, and I mean, her office was, it met everything. There was not one piece of paper out of, she knew where everything was, and it was immaculate. It's like, wow, you just really have this so well organized. Why is that? Because, well, she said one reason, it was just how she explained it, but it was kind of like the analogy to her life growing up. If something was missing, the house got tore apart until it got found. So she just learned you don't miss anything. So if like her dad needed toenail clippers right now, and they weren't where they were supposed to be, you didn't function until those toenail clippers were found. You couldn't, it was like you were done. That your moment of anything you had planned until he found. So she just always makes sure everything is into place. Now that's a trigger to her response. making sure everything's in place and she doesn't procrastinate, because in her mind she's going to be in trouble, even though she's married with kids, grandchildren, the whole bit. This has served her probably to the point of, driving people crazy, that everything is so organized and everything has place. But everything should be organized, everything should be in its place. And I am, the preaching to the choir, and I'm the kettle talking to the black pot. So just know I have my own procrastination issues too, and part of that's guilt, but I'll get into that in a minute. So identifying triggers, and when you identifying the triggers, it helps you understand why you're procrastinating and developing a strategy to overcome it. Now, I'm working on a strategy for myself right now. I have a 4-office suite building. It's the whole building is what I lease, and I have 4 offices, and this is one of my offices this is my office. I also have another office that's mine, and I rent out the other 2. I also have a great big ginormous room that I do seminars in, and a lobby and a couple bathrooms and such, a long hallway. But the other office that I want to make my office, and this be just my therapy room, is still kind of a mess from when I moved in. And when I moved in, I had, it's just putting everything up where it needed to be. So I have a ginormous mess in there, and it's been there since January. Well, I moved in this building in November, so we can say November, but I was anyway, it's a long story, but I've been playing musical offices for a while. So I want to get that one set up, but I still have a lot of work to do, a lot of boxes to empty, and I've partly been procrastinating, but I have an excuse why, right? And my excuse sucks, but we'll get into that. But yeah, it is, I'm in it with everybody. That room needs to be done, but it's like, what happens when it's done, Isla? What does that mean? That means I have to utilize it. Okay. I need to figure out how that room's going to make me money. Okay. Am I losing money? It's like, what's the deal with that room, Isla? Why can't you just make it so that it's something that maybe that's what universe is waiting for me to do. Maybe that's what I need to do. Maybe I need to get that done so that universe can see, okay, she's getting serious now. Maybe. But why am I holding back? Why am I resisting? I have a few theories on that. I'm not going to publicly state, but if you ever wanted to know, I'd be happy to tell you one on. Back to my notes. How to break this cycle? By identifying the triggers and developing a plan. And a person can break a cycle of procrastination. Let's see, back onto strategies. A strategy is just a way how you do things, the steps you take to do a behavior. So how I do strategies, how I drink a glass of water. My thumb is in front of me. My pinky is typically underneath a cup like this. And this is because the trigger is, I can hold a cup regular, but this here gives me more support, and I'm less likely to spill it or drop it because I have the support. So it gives me an extra millisecond in case I feel like I'm gonna, drop it. Can I do it with more than one? No, it's more comfortable with just my pinky, I guess. And when I take a drink of water, my strategy is to take in air at the same time. I don't know if that's wise or not. It's just how I do it. I don't know why. Another strategy I have is playing with my hair when I'm on camera and I can see myself, because all I am right now is just looking at me in the camera, because right now I'm alone. And that's okay, because these are just being piled up in my library. But overcoming strategy, you got to learn steps to your strategy. Identifying triggers. So self-reflection, taking time to reflect on what the triggers are. For me, some of this is guilt. I have so many other projects. Are they more important? That's what I'm trying to decide. Identifying my own patterns, looking for patterns for behavior, and identify common triggers. And then develop a plan. Now, one of the things procrastinationists, if you will, some are really good at making lists, and then they lose the list. So they need a list to find the list. And then they don't do the list because they can't find the list. So what's the point? So it's developing the one step that can't get in the way, the one step that's not an option. It's the option of making your list if you need to make a list, and you can't lose that list. So it is in a prominent place. Laminate it, paint it on a Post-it note or put it on a place where you're going to see it and not touch it. Don't take it away. If you tend to take your list, make a bunch of copies and clip them together, like on the refrigerator, for example. So they're there. So you will need to take a copy with you. Fine. Then you still have the rest of your copies there. That's just one option of how you can help yourself. Prioritizing your tasks does help. So even if you have 20 things on your list, you can do the most difficult one first and the rest are cheesecake, or do all the easy ones first and then do the difficult one last. And maybe you have more time to spend on that most difficult one. Staying motivated. So staying motivated by settling and setting achievable goals. If you want to work on goal setting, let me know. I'm good at setting goals and then working my way through achieving them. And it comes alive to me when I see a goal being met, and I just feel good inside when I have so amazing goals happen, and just one after another, little pieces of them, and they're so ginormous. So just chunk it down. So just a little piece of it at a time. So it's like, how do you eat an elephant? Just one bite at a time kind of thing. So you just taking goals one piece at a time, and just rewarding yourself for your progress. Now, I caution you on rewards. Don't make them food. Just don't make rewards your food. If rewarding means, you get a day at the spa because you got your 10 items on your list done, that's a much better use of self-care. Maybe you need a facial. You're postponing your haircut like me. I need my haircut. Why? Well, me for its time, because salons aren't open when I need them to be open. Boy, that's somebody that would do some good business. But just reward yourself on things that are healthy. I would be most cautious of. And then focus on the benefits of completing your task. So that office back there will probably accelerate income for me as soon as I get it done. So why am I not being motivated by money? What is my issue with that? It's not like I have tons of it and I'm so secure. I don't know what it is. I don't know. It's still a lot of, I'm still thinking I have 3 offices like I did before. I don't know. But meanwhile, I'm working on it. I got to do a lot of journaling, therapeutic journaling. Oh, it's phenomenal. Holding myself accountable, but not just accountable, but accountable to somebody I appreciate that I don't want to let down. So if there's somebody in your life you don't want to let them down, be accountable to that person. That's the one person you have the highest regard and respect for, and you would never do anything, no matter how bad things got in your life or between you or whatever, you would never do anything to hurt them. And if you're a vengeful person, maybe that's something that you would have to work on. There's not an organization or a person, no matter what's happened between me and them, that I would ever do anything to hurt their business. By just not being nice, accountable to that. They were serviceable to me, whatever that is. I'm not going to hurt them. Every organization I've ever belonged to, if I have anything disparaging to talk about, I don't mention who the organization is. If I mention the name, I'm never going to say anything disparaging. So it just depends on the context, but that it will never come back to anybody that Isla said you were blah, blah, blah. No, that's not, and if I do, I'd own it. I'm not going to lie about it either. Own your stuff, right? Staying motivated, holding yourself accountable, creating accountability strategies, telling someone else, like I just said, and just using apps. There are procrastination apps now. You can go to your app store and download a free procrastination app. Which one? Find the one that has the best rating. Look at them, try a couple and see which ones work best for you. I have a couple issues about that, in that I don't know that the apps they're good and I believe they work, but some people procrastinate opening their app. So is that useful? I don't know. And then the final thought, let's see, recapping. So procrastination is a response to a trigger, not a condition. Identifying the trigger, developing a plan, implementing strategies can help overcome procrastination. implication for making yourself overcoming, excuse me, I'm talking double talk. Overcome procrastination can lead to increased productivity, reduced stress, and your own personal growth. Final thoughts and recommendations: don't be too hard on yourself for procrastinating, but instead focus on understanding and changing the underlying triggers. Remember, change takes some time and effort, but it is possible to overcome your procrastination. Don't try to look at it like, logically or like willpower, because you're going to fail that. So it's imagination. Constantly imagining yourself, putting that positive emotion with that imaginative thought, and you're going to be successful, because Mel Robbins, who's a content provider on Instagram, I love her. She says, once you have a thought, like that positive thought, get off the couch and go do the dishes. You have a few seconds at best before your brain's going to kill it. And you're just going to sit there and go, oh, whatever. As second you have a thought, stand up and do something. Even if you just stand up and take 5 steps and go back and sit down, you did something. You're retraining your brain. When you have this thought, this is what's going to happen. I feel good. Oh, let's do that again. If you can rehearse it in your mind over and over again with the positive intention, my kitchen is going to look so good when it's clean. I love walking into a clean kitchen. Oh, or something like that. Bed's going to be made, or whatever it is. You have this and positive thing, and you're rehearsing yourself in a loop. That strategy: I get up, I make my bed. I get up and I make my bed. And when you're make my bed means, what for me at the very beginning, I'm throwing the covers over the pillow, the bedspread. That's it. Then that's fine. That's your beginning strategy. Even if you did that for weeks or months at a time, you're doing it and you're creating a habit. Eventually, you're going to want to decorate it a little bit. It'll just get prettier and prettier. And you'll start your day with accomplishment, because, oh, did you make your bed? You made your bed. If you have a hard time, it's wash, dry, fold, and put away. Laundry is a 4-step process. And I'm guilty as much as anybody about washing and drying is easy. It's the folding and putting away that I've been a little scarce at. We won't go there any further than that. Anyway, this is my procrastination part 2. You can see the whole thing on News and Hypnosis on the Austin Read Network, on Roku and Amazon Fire, News and Hypnosis. And my name is Isla Brock. I'm a certified hypnotherapist, and I can be reached at that email address down there. It might be down there for YouTube, but it's at the bottom of the page. It can also be reached at 559-749-4803. My website is centralvalleyhypnotherapy.com. Take care, everybody, and I look forward to next week. I'm not sure what we're going to talk about, but I think it's test anxiety. Oh, I'm pretty sure I haven't looked at my list. See, I'm not